Imagine a society where Muslims, Christians, and Jews lived, studied, and built together. A place where libraries rivaled the greatest in the world, where science, philosophy, and art reached dazzling heights. This wasn't a dream or a myth, this was Al-Andalus, Muslim Spain, a civilization that flourished for nearly 8 centuries. But what made it so extraordinary? And more importantly, what lessons can we take from its rise and its decline for the challenges we face today? The story begins in the year 711, when a relatively small Muslim army led by Tariq ibn Ziyad crossed the narrow waters of the Strait of Gibraltar. They defeated the Visigothic king and within a short time laid the foundations of Muslim rule in Iberia. The land they called Al-Andalus soon grew into a jewel of the Islamic world. Under the Umayyads, and especially during the height of the Caliphate of Cordoba, this region transformed into one of the most advanced societies of its time. Cordoba became the beating heart of this civilization. At a moment when most of Europe was in what some historians describe as the Dark Ages, Cordoba shone as a beacon of light. Its streets were paved and illuminated, its markets bustled with trade from as far as Asia and Africa, and most importantly, it became a hub of learning. It is said that the libraries of Cordoba held hundreds of thousands of manuscripts, dwarfing anything found north of the Pyrenees. This was not just a political conquest, it was a cultural and intellectual revolution. Manuscripts, translations, and commentary flowed in and out of Al-Andalus, preserving and expanding knowledge. What made Al-Andalus truly unique was the spirit of Convivencia, a form of coexistence that, while not free of tension, allowed Muslims, Christians, and Jews to share a common space and benefit from one another's traditions. This environment of relative openness created fertile ground for some of the greatest minds of the medieval world. Philosophers like Ibn Rushd, known in the West as Averroes, reintroduced Aristotle to Europe and shaped the very foundations of Western philosophy. Jewish thinkers like Maimonides emerged from this same soil, producing works that still influence Jewish thought today. And scholars like Al-Zarawi wrote medical encyclopedias that were studied in European universities centuries after his death. This was a society that prized learning across fields, philosophy, law, medicine, and more. But the brilliance of Al-Andalus was not limited to books and ideas. Farmers developed advanced irrigation systems that transformed arid lands into fertile gardens. Crops such as citrus fruits, rice, and cotton spread into Europe through Muslim Spain, permanently changing the continent's agriculture. Artists and architects also left their indelible mark. The Great Mosque of Cordoba, with its endless arches, and the Alhambra in Granada, with its breathtaking blend of geometry, calligraphy, and natural harmony, continue to astonish visitors to this day. Yet history teaches us that no civilization, however brilliant, is immune to decline. By the 11th century, internal tensions began to tear at the seams of Al-Andalus. The once mighty Caliphate of Cordoba splintered into small rival kingdoms known as the Taifas. While they competed for power and luxury, the Christian kingdoms in the north of Iberia grew stronger, slowly reclaiming territory. This process, known as the Reconquista, was not swift, but over generations, it pushed Muslim rule further south. By 1492, the last Muslim stronghold of Granada fell to Ferdinand and Isabella. That same year, Columbus sailed west under their banner. While in Spain itself, Muslims and Jews were forced to convert, flee, or face persecution under the Spanish Inquisition. The golden age of Al-Andalus had ended, replaced by centuries of religious uniformity and suppression. And if we look closely, we see that it was not simply external enemies that brought down Al-Andalus, but internal disunity, complacency, and the loss of the higher vision that had once animated its society. Prosperity led some rulers to chase luxury and fleeting power rather than justice and vision. As values weakened, so too did the society. This is not just a lesson for nations, but for individuals as well. True success lies in holding fast to principles even in times of wealth and comfort. So what lessons does this chapter of history offer us today? First, the story of Al-Andalus reminds us of the transformative power of knowledge. At its height, Muslim Spain valued education so deeply that it became the conduit through which ancient Greek texts, preserved and commented upon by Muslim scholars, re-entered Europe and helped spark the Renaissance. In a time when much of the world was starved of learning, Al-Andalus showed that knowledge, not just wealth or armies, is the true foundation of a thriving civilization. The lesson: protect education, invest in scholarship, and make knowledge accessible to all. It also teaches us the danger of division. The fall of Muslim Spain was not inevitable. Its armies were strong, its cities wealthy, and its culture dazzling. But disunity and short-term rivalries opened the door to conquest. Another lesson lies in the spirit of Convivencia, however imperfect it may have been. When different communities found ways to live, trade, and learn together, all of them benefited. In a world increasingly marked by polarization and mistrust, Al-Andalus reminds us that tolerance is not a weakness but a strength that enriches everyone. Finally, the story of Al-Andalus warns of the dangers of forgetting higher purpose. Prosperity led some rulers to chase luxury and fleeting power rather than justice and vision. Al-Andalus remains one of the most remarkable chapters in human history, a living proof of what humans can achieve when they pursue knowledge, justice, and coexistence. Its libraries and palaces may have fallen, but its legacy of learning and culture shaped the world we live in today. The question that remains for us is this: will we take the lessons of Al-Andalus to build societies that are strong, just, and enlightened? Or will we repeat the same mistakes that led to its downfall?